The OBX Wave Report for Friday, November 25th, 2022, aka the infamous Black Friday. For today's episode, we are going to provide you, as we do every day, a timely report on wave conditions for the Outer Banks of North Carolina for 3 locations. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the weather because the weather situation has changed in the Outer Banks, and there's some interesting developments coming down the pipe a little bit, according to some of the weather models. Um, so, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're also going to talk about charitable giving for coastal defense on Black Friday. Today, I am going to renew my membership in a charitable organization that I donate to every year. And I thought that today, Black Friday, would be a good day to talk about this because oftentimes we're hit with all these messaging, this messaging that tells us that we deserve everything, and then we can become everything if we go out and buy stuff and validate our perceived need to get more things. And for me, I over the years I have felt actually more validated in my person and my personal empowerment by taking part in causes that do things like preserve the things that I love and care about, or advance the things that I love and care about. And for the OBX Wave Report, one of the things that we focus on a lot that's very near and dear to my heart, and I know many of you who are interested in beach lifestyle or surfing, also probably really care about our coastlines, which are presently under threat due to human-caused climate change. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those things. But yeah, again, welcome to the OBX Wave Report, where each session is an adventure as we explore all things waves, beach lifestyle, weather, and climate, and where we are also on a mission to save our shores. So yeah, but first, the wave report for today, where we find that wave conditions have changed quite a bit since our last report 24 hours ago. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. As usual, we're going to start out at Jeanette's Pier for the OBX wave report. And again, I am not reporting on location. We are a day now from our move to the Outer Banks region, and once I get there, I will be able to provide you some on-location reports and all sorts of interesting on-location reporting, video, visuals, live streams. Uh, if we get our drone up and running and good to go, we'll have some nice drone video for you guys. We got all sorts of interesting Outer Banks wave observations for you planned, and I'm really excited about it. We're not quite there yet, but we have got our move locked and loaded, and we're really raring to go to get our feet in the sand for you guys down in the Outer Banks. But in any case, starting at Jeanette's Pier, the wave height is 2 to 3 feet, so much improved from yesterday, which was about 1 foot. So you've got thigh to waist high, maybe even a couple of chest high sets coming in there. The wave period is 9 seconds for the primary swell and 4 seconds for the secondary swell. The wind direction is out of the northwest at around 7 miles per hour, and this is an offshore flow. So you got that wind coming in out of the northwest, even though the shore is canted toward the northeast, the northwest flow is pushing offshore. You do have a swell coming in from the southeast here due to weather system that we're going to talk a little bit more about, though. So the wind's kind of cutting. It's pushing up the faces of that swell and creating relatively decent surf conditions, although it's a little bit choppy because you've got some wind pushing here. Although the local wind conditions are not so bad, you do have nearby wind conditions. They're pretty rough. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. The air temperature is 60 degrees Fahrenheit, so a bit warmer than yesterday. The ocean water temperature is also a bit warmer at 63 degrees Fahrenheit. The weather conditions are not ideal for the beach at all, but if you're a surfer and you are not afraid of a little weather, you might still want to go out there. It's presently raining right now at Jeanettes Pier, moderate rain, and expected high temperature today is 62 degrees Fahrenheit, so relatively warm. So not terrible conditions as far as like surfing goes if you're like a wave goer. At Jeanette's Pier, heck, if you get in the water, you're going to get wet anyway. But if you do, please, look to your cold weather protection. 63-degree water is not super warm, and 60-degree air temperature is pretty cool. So you're probably going to want to have a wetsuit at Jeanette's Pier today. So moving on south to Rodanthe, or I'm sorry, Rodanthe. Yeah, sorry, mispronounced it. But I've been calling it Rodanthe ever since I was a kid, and it's not Rodanthe, it's Rodanthe. But in any case, moving south to Rodanthe, we find that the wave heights are actually a bit larger, and it's 2 to 4 feet, so solid waist chest high waves here at Rodanthe. The wave period is 10 seconds for the primary period, with the secondary period at 4 seconds. The wind direction and speed is, the wind's coming out of the south at a pretty strong 22 miles per hour. And this is a strong cross-shore wind, and so that's going to chop that swell up quite a bit, create a bit of a churn in that swell, a twist, and so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to manage getting out through that break as you get the kind of angular waves coming in. And so the wave faces probably won't be all that great given the strong southerly flow, but the wave heights are considerably better than they have been. The air temperature is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The ocean water temperature is 66 degrees Fahrenheit, relatively warm for this time of year, but still, at the very least, you're probably going to want a spring suit, if not at least a lighter wetsuit out there. The weather is heavy wind driven rain, and the high temperature, expected high temperature today is about where it is now at 68 degrees Fahrenheit with that strong southerly flow. Now, for our third location, we're going to go ahead and move on south to a south-facing beach. So we're going to go on past Hatteras Island and make the right turn there as we head on down Route 12, and we're going to go down to Frisco. I'm going to set up a little satellite shot here of Frisco so you guys have an idea what we're looking at. So presently, the wave heights at Frisco are 2 to 4 feet. I've actually seen two different reports from Frisco, one for 2 to 3 feet and one for 2 to 4 feet. We're going to err on the side of 2 to 4 feet given the wind conditions down there, which are rather strong. So expect the waves to be on the higher end of the official reports here. The wave period is pretty rapid, 5 seconds for the primary swell and 9 seconds for the secondary swell. The winds are coming out of the south-southwest at 28 miles per hour. So just getting up there into not quite gale conditions yet, but getting rather close. So south-southwest is, let's see. So west is over here at the right-hand side of the map. So south-southwest is cutting in. It's almost cross-shore, maybe with a little bit of onshore flow. So again, you're going to have that churn in the waves because of that strong cross-shore wind. It's going to create that twist as you go out, and so it might not be the most pleasant surfing conditions. Some people are more tolerant to chop than others, but just keep that in mind. In any case, with that strong southwest wind and cross shore flow, anytime you hop in the water, there's going to be a strong cross shore current, and it's probably going to dump you pretty far unless you are just crazy about paddling against the current there. In any case, the air temperature is also 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The ocean water temperature is 67 degrees Fahrenheit. The weather conditions are wind-driven rain, and the expected high temperature today for Frisco is 69 degrees Fahrenheit. So as you can see, the conditions have really changed for the Outer Banks today. And the reason is we have a weather system that is draped across the southeastern and Gulf portions of the United States, extending down into the Gulf of Mexico and even trailing down to into Mexico, with a daisy chain of low pressure systems riding along a frontal boundary, coming up from the southwest and moving on toward the northeast. The leading edge of which is slamming into the Outer Banks right now, causing the conditions that we're seeing: strong southerly winds in many locations, and heavy rain, moderate to heavy rain, as well as producing larger swells in various areas. And so here is the national weather map, giving you an idea of the weather conditions for the Outer Banks. And I'm going to also go ahead and show you the National Weather Service radar to give you an idea about the present rain conditions for the Outer Banks, and where it's coming from. So right now you see very heavy weather draped across the U.S. Mid-Atlantic here, all along the coastal zone. And as you zoom in, you can see the moderate to heavy rain uh, squalls moving over the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Now, this weather system is expected to intensify a little bit and then head on out offshore over the next day or so. So today you're going to see the raining conditions, and then tomorrow the weather conditions are expected to change according to the model forecast. So here are present conditions according to the GFS model provided by Tropical Tidbits. And I'm just going to go ahead and run this model a few hours. And here you see by tomorrow, the frontal system that is presently draped over the Outer Banks is expected to kick on offshore. This storm system might actually help produce more swell, and so we might see better wave conditions for tomorrow as well. And it's also worth noting that down the pipe, there's also another low pressure system that's developing as well, so that might affect the Outer Banks in the next day or so. Um, I know I didn't really say I was going to talk about tropical weather for this episode, but I do want to mention that some of the GFS models and other models are still spitting out the potential for tropical weather developments in early December. It's been pretty sporadic, and we're still about a week off for early December, a week to 2 weeks off for what the models have been spitting out. And so these potential tropical developments that the models are indicating are still something that we probably need to take with a grain of salt. It's not something that, in the mid to long term model runs, it's not something that's really likely, but we're going to keep an eye on it. And if that tendency in the model continues as we get closer to those dates, then we're going to start planting some flags in the ground and say, hey, there's a potential for us to see a hurricane or a tropical storm in December, which would be pretty rare, and also possibly a wave maker for the Outer Banks of North Carolina should that occur. All right, so that's it for our wave report for today and some related weather discussion. If you are interested in more wave related information, more surf condition related information, I recommend you check out magicseaweed.com, which is a fantastic resource for all of us surfers and those of us who love waves and related water sports. So now I'm going to go on to the next segment of the OBX Wave Report for today. And I'm going to talk about responsible action and charitable giving and, um, just setting yourself up to help provide some impetus for the changes necessary to defend our coastlines in the present day. And I am myself, I look at myself and say, hey, what can I do? I know I'm just one person, but how can I participate in a larger campaign to direct positive change and create progress and help make a better life for myself, but also everyone around me. And, to take responsibility and take on a mission of providing just action to help save our shores. And so for today, what I'm going to do on Black Friday is I am going to renew my membership in the Sierra Club. Now, the Sierra Club is not the only organization that takes part in missions that will help save our coastlines and help generate progress for all of us. But I find that the Sierra Club is very effective. It is, and it is focused on on many of the areas that I care about deeply. And I've gone ahead and pulled up some focus areas for the chapter that I've been involved in, which is the Washington, D.C. chapter. And the focus areas for this chapter are promoting the rapid deployment of clean energy, promoting clean water in our area, promoting smart growth, and promoting zero waste. For coastlines and coastal regions and anything related to the shores that we love so much, many of these campaigns directly affect them. Rapidly deploying clean energy is going to reduce the impact of climate change and directly have an effect on how rapidly oceans rise and how strong storms become. Because as the Earth system warms, it generates more melt from the glacial systems, and it also generates more thermal expansion of the oceans, which accelerates sea level rise. And in addition, all of that extra heat in the Earth system creates more convection and more evaporation from land and ocean surfaces, which are primary drivers for intense storms. So clean energy is right at the heart of what I want to be involved in as far as progressive and helpful action. Clean water is also very important, both for my health and my safety and my lifestyle. Smart growth is very important because smart growth involves in growing in ways that preserve human structures and human infrastructures, but also preserve natural structures and natural infrastructures and natural services. And if you are providing smart growth in the coastal area, you're also going to be more resilient to climate change. And last of all, zero waste is very important to the oceans. If you have adaptive recycling that learns how to take waste and reuse it effectively, and of course, recycling and managing waste so that you have zero waste, it is a process. It's like a learning process, just like anything else. But participating in that process is going to result in less pollution in your streams, less pollution in your estuaries, less pollution in your ocean, in particular when it comes to like things like plastic, which is a fossil fuel based product. And it's also going to result in cleaner air, which we all enjoy. So these campaigns are very central to protecting and preserving, but also enhancing the value of so many things that I love and enjoy and participate in. And now because I'm moving to the coast, it's even more keen, more pertinent to my mind. So for today on Black Friday, rather than going out and participating in some kind of mad, I deserve everything, gimme, gimme, gimme kind of thing. Instead, I'm going to renew my commitment to the Sierra Club and its campaign to preserve the things I love and make a better future for us all. So that's my statement for today. That's my little soapbox on Black Friday. For tomorrow, I'm going to be moving. I'm going to probably do a very truncated wave report where I'm just going to provide you some of the conditions and then head on out. But in any case, thank you for joining me on this Black Friday. And please remember to do everything you can